We're going to install the WSHEIC Invert crown kit on two 2.5 foot sections of truss, just to provide examples. Take note of your washer positions. You have an outer washer, goes on the outside, inner washer, inner lock washer, jam nut. Now with the key out, coupler removed, you have your corresponding keyway and corresponding keyway here. You need to position the frame section together where these line up to get this key perfectly centered. Okay, now we've got our two frame sections together. You can see the keyway. If we rotate the shaft a little bit, we can see our detent, and that's where my alignment marks are going to be on my coupler. And having the tube rotated again in this direction allows us to gain access to put wrenches on. Okay, so now we're going to finish sliding over. I want to line up my marks here. I'm in line with the keyway on this side. I have some exposed. This side, go ahead and break the difference. I'm in my detent for this set screw, detent for this screw, and I can torque these down. Okay, when you go to install your left side screed section, they're all manufactured in the same manner. The 2.5 as the example is the same as the 5 and the 7.5 and 10 in relation to where your bearing support plate is. It's always on the outside end. That's going to pose a problem when we go to install onto an invert crown kit. We need to remove this bearing support on the rightmost because your additional bearing support on this screed section is within a foot distance, and you have another bearing support on the invert crown kit. You cannot physically marry up the two because your bearing support is the same width as your invert crown kit frame section. So when we go to remove this, we'll remove all 3/4 inch bolts on both sides. We're going to loosen and remove both 9/16 bolts to get this bearing slid off the shaft. We'll go into more detail on that. We need to remove this flex plate, support plate, and also this inner support plate on this side. We'll show more about that here in a minute. So now we need to loosen both Allen retaining screws for our bearing support using a 3/32 Allen head. Okay, what we've installed here now is our invert crown kit on a 2.5 foot section of truss and a 2.5 foot section of truss as our mock-up stand. We've placed it on a set of 2x4s to show what we need to do in order to ensure that our screed is, for start with, to be flat, and next step to actually add our invert or crown. As I'm adjusting the invert crown couplers on top, notice the change in relation to our straight string line. This is to perform a crown. If you're looking to do an invert, you rotate the upper couplers in the opposite direction. So what we've completed so far is the install of both the left and the right side. You'll note our leftover parts that we referred to when we had to install our left side. There's an additional bearing support that we had to remove. The removed components are all laid out here. You have your bearing support bracket, bearing cover, and two additional support plates that go on the front and rear side.